Hey everybody, Asher here, back with more Kerbal Space Program, where we have been busy. Probably the best way to start about it is going to the astronaut complex and seeing that I have available astronauts once again. Bill, Bob, Valentina, and Ronnie Kerman have all been brought home. Why? Because I did a live stream for a while last night. Some of y'all were able to pop in, and that's great. Some of you may have watched the VODs that went up on YouTube later on. That's great as well. You can see Jebediah also available. Alvy Kerman on EVA, so that is a place that we can, well, she's on Eve, so we're not really getting Alvy Kerman. But otherwise, we have a lot of Kerbans assigned. We have a few more available, and like I said, my biggest goal is just trying to get people home. So we do have level 4 piloting, level 4 sciencing, which is all very good. Ronnie Kerman's actually really close and getting more experience as well. So that's a plus. We have a lot of things still in the sky, though. So I'm going to be going into a little bit of a post-commentary mode before long. We still have some time before the Joule drone station passes by Joule, and we do have some launch windows that are going to be coming kind of in the interim. But just so we can see where we are, the Duna rescuer is officially rescuing Eve now. Within the orbit of Ike, we have the Duna refueler landed on Ike, and that's kind of where we're going to start because that kind of brings everything together. So let's go ahead and hop here first. Now, if you missed it on the live stream before, you can see Jebediah is here. This is where I kind of finished up. But one of the issues that I ran into with this whole thing is that, well, I was wondering why my ship was not shooting and pointing straight before, and it turns out it's because these fuel tanks were not actually evenly distributed, as weird as that sounds. And the reason that they were not evenly distributed, and I don't know why that carries so little fuel in that one so much, but we'll figure it out regardless because we're going to be converting a lot of ore to other things here. I need to actually activate one of these drills, and we can go ahead and say, just try and do a little bit of the time acceleration dance. We're going to do this until, see, look at that. You do a little bit of time acceleration, you get one drill going. We start the surface harvester like so. And it's going at 100% load, and we have a lot of power. And slowly but slowly, we are going to get some ore coming up here. So while we're doing that, the Ike station, which has been a fantastic boon of science, is going to be going here. And the reason that I have the alarm clock set up is because it's going to take a while to get this mining to work. Especially since I'm going to have to be very careful with my engines and everything. And I'm not going to be able to do multiple landings like I had hoped on Eve, or not on Eve, but on Duna before. Pretty much we're only going to have one landing rescue and that's it. And that's because I don't have any engineers here, as far as I know, to repack the parachutes. So what's actually going to have to happen with this vessel is when I bring it home, I'm going to have to repack the parachutes that way. But let's see if we can go ahead and time accelerate, just get a little bit of ore. Maybe I don't need to go total post-commentary on this. You can see we are slowly dipping our way up the ore here. Both of our drills are going. We're actually having a pretty good power influx here. 100% load, 100% load. First thing is going to be just to rebuild the fuel here. We do have a contract to get a bunch of ore onto, whatchamacallit, the spaceship. So do we actually have, and we kind of have two competing things. Because we want to actually get 1,000 ore, and we also want to extract a lot of stuff from your space station, or from Ike. So 2,500 units of fresh ore from Ike, and there's no counter, so I'm hoping I don't have to do that all at once. If I do, that means I'm going to have to send a mission here later, because I don't have big enough fuel tanks to make this happen. I mean, it's all from Ike, but I don't trust these things when there's not a counter. So we'll go ahead and just time accelerate just a little bit. It's going to take some time. Like I said, if we can get, that's a lot of ore that we have to fill up for too long. So when we go to nighttime, we're going to run out of some power pretty quick. No, we're actually going to be okay. So I don't know if we're on a place that's really good for ore or really terrible for ore, but chances are we're probably going to have to move our ship before long. So it takes 3 days to do a rotation, and we do have technically enough ore to make this work. So if we go ahead and turn on the power conversion as well, We can do liquid fuel oxidizer, monopropellant. I think we're okay on monopropellant for the ship, but we can go ahead and start doing this. This is going to drain a lot of power with both the drills going. So let's see if it's going to drain all the power. Yeah, it's going to drain all the power with the 2 drills there, but we can do the time acceleration dance. Make this come back. Poppity pop. I don't want to call it like super exploity or anything, but it's the way the game works right now. So we are maxed out on fuel, kind of. It seems like we are. Is there fuel in here? Yes. Is there fuel in here? Yes. So we're good. Which means we just need to get the ore back in line now. Now this ship is going to be a lot heavier, obviously, with all the ore. So that could make launching things a little more complicated. So we're getting the Joule drone station ever so closer to making it on there. Ike is going to be continuing to get some science. In fact, I may just try and land back here again. But I kind of feel so fortunate to get on the ridge with this that what I kind of want to do instead is, okay, so let's see here. You have extracted what? I didn't see what that system message was because the Kerbal alarm clock. I think I've just extracted all of the ore I can get from the area. Let's see. So let's go ahead and retract the drill. Let's go ahead and retract this drill as well. We don't have enough ore to actually make it up into space and get the contract right now because I believe we need 1,000 in orbit around Duna to get the space station contract. But I've gotten pretty close to actually mining, what was it, 2,500 units of fresh ore acquired? I guess it needs to be fresh all at once though. Well, let's go ahead and see. Can I actually switch targets over here? That's the flagpole. That's the other thing. No. So we are going to have to do a little bit of post-commentary while we float our Ike Landing Station member over here. So this is going to be some of the last science that we get from poor Chadhat. But we've gotten enough science here. I mean, I could send 120 more over. Let's go ahead and EVA him, though. Because eventually it gets to the point where you just want to take the data and hope for the best. So, whoop. Go ahead and zoom up as well. We're actually about to slam right into, whoop, right through the antenna, perhaps. Not quite the acceleration. What? Okay, I'm not physically time accelerating. But for some reason, Chadhat was defying the laws of physics, to be sure. So bizarre. Alright, any other datas to be taken from here? Just want to do one double check. Alright, and we've got... There's our grabby. Nope. Anything in the viewing cupola? Apparently. So yeah, this is all just all bugs. You're seeing this too. I have not gone to like actual time acceleration yet. This is like a physics hell right here. I don't know what's going on. I'm in fact going to reboard here just to make sure I don't have some weird on-ship time acceleration happening. We'll take this data. We'll go ahead and board. We'll dump experiments that are duplicates. We don't have any time acceleration here. EVA from the cupola one more time. Take the datas. Let's get you home. So fortunately for you all, we have the power of time acceleration as opposed to those of you who may have caught the live stream VOD where this motion is currently going 4 times speed. Now the danger you run into with anything like this is first off, we don't have as much horizontal places to go, but we do have to climb about 7,000 meters just to get up on this ridge. So that's pretty exciting. While Chadhat does get to fly and does get to complete a science mission, that's all pretty well and good. But I've run into this issue on Minmus, and I've run into this issue in other places. If you EVA a little too irresponsibly, go too fast, you can actually go kaput into the surface of the planet and die. So while I could be using my EVA fuel a lot more aggressively to go a lot faster, I'm trying my best to be careful just to not kill Chadhat. So hopefully the time acceleration also helps a little bit as I'm looking through some of my contracts here. Possibly saying something interesting, I'm not sure, but you can see I have nearly climbed over everything, and here we go. Chadhat able to see the ship that Jebediah is on, the rescue or the relief mission, landing close enough to make things work. So that is pretty awesome that that is indeed the case. So what are we going to do now? It is about to be time to go back to the real life as we almost crash into the surface, and I'm going to actually try to fly into the actual spaceship. Maybe without touching the ground. I don't know if that's bonus points or not. But as you saw, there's some weird physics wonkiness to fight with as well, as he actually misses the door, but there we can dump some experiments as well. So here we go. This ship now has a valuable payload of science. Actual 8 restored data, a lot more than sitting and waiting for that other thing to work. Certainly Chadhat and Jebediah a little more valuable to come home, but we are going to do, I guess, one more flight here just to see if we can get all these things home. Like I said, I was a little concerned about the fact that our ship doesn't really have a lot in the way of, what do I call it? It doesn't have too much in the way of, I really don't know what word I'm looking for here. It doesn't have fuel balance. I don't think I said why. I discovered, when looking around the different parts here, you may see it when I flash it by here. There's only one fuel line. There should have been 4. The ship would fly very differently as there are 4, but I still managed to land on top of the ridge without much issue. I could go for a polar landing just to try and get to a different biome, get some more science, get some different fuel. I could Alt F12 just to check my biomes, but I'm pretty sure this is a different biome than where I landed, so that's where we're going to try and go. So we are just gonna hit the fly button again. Pretty fly for a spaceship. And all we gotta do is just rotate our nav ball, preferably the other way. And we're not gonna try and go into orbit or anything. Here's I gotta actually fix the nav ball. But we do have a little bit of fuel, and we have a ship that is very, very, very finicky with what direction it wants to take. Unfortunately, terrible time for a phone call that I needed to take right then, so that's why we're back here again. So we are flying a little further up, a little further on. Once again, the name of the game, the issue is trying to make a fuel balance and everything. The other issue as well is just that my ship, for whatever reason, and it doesn't want to point prograde all of a sudden, I don't have my maneuver nodes going the right way. So if we're looking for a good place to land, look at this. We're at 9,000 meters up, and suddenly that goes from meaning something in a valley to not meaning anything. I want to land over here, or I could have tried to land in this valley, but I want to see if I can go just a little bit further. It's going to take a little bit of a push. I'm going to start half to slowing down before too long, before we make a litho braking maneuver, which would be a little awkward. I said it's a little awkward enough that I had to take a call at a time, but that's the way things crumble sometimes. So what are we going to run into here? We still have the rogue fuel tank. Trying to do rogue fuel tanky things. We just got to balance this a little bit. And now we got to watch the fuel balance with the rest of the ship. So we're going to slow down a little bit, try not to land on ridge, try and land on this flat area over here where our altimeter is already saying we are only a few hundred meters from the surface. That's good. Alright. This will have to do. We're not going to get a ton from our poodle, but we are a little slopey. Uh-oh. Jeb, get this sorted out. We got 500 meters to get kind of out of a 40 meter per second free fall. So 500 meters. Does that mean I'm actually landing in like 10 seconds? No, we're at 1,000. So I'm okay. And I guess the famous last words was, hey, it'll be really awesome if I can do 2 Ike landings in a row without having my ship crash and burn and go to shit. When in fact, then it's like, oh look, phone. Oh look, I have to take this. Oh crap. Things didn't quite happen. But that's how it goes sometimes. I was not expecting certain things to happen. And look at this. Look at this. I actually royally screwed that up because I was going for I was still on orbital velocity, and this is exactly what I was talking about before. You've got to make sure that you are on surface for your landing. Not orbit, not target. So just a little bit of a distraction goes a long way, but I think my landing here is going to be decent. As long as I don't do it at 14 damn meters per second. So let's slow this down a little bit. We are going to have a little bit of fuel balancing issues again. One fuel line. It's fun. We should all try it. We should make it a Reddit challenge. The one fuel line challenge. Except someone will make an amazing rocket and fly amazing places, and I'll barely manage to land on Ike. For as good as I am at this game, I have no candle to some of the more creative minds out there that actually get some of the space flight stuff pretty well. But once again, it's interesting because our ship is not quite evenly balanced. So some of these landing maneuvers are not always going too awesome, but this is maybe the flattest place I've ever seen on Ike. Maybe I should have tried to land on the light portions before instead of the dark ones. Duna right overhead. So he actually overdid the acceleration a little bit. And should be touchdown. Here we go! That was how it was supposed to go the first time. Alright, so we do have a happy little ship. And we can see if there's a different crew report to have here. We're at the Central Mountain Range, so actually different science. Great. Chadhat, you can do your EVA. Then we'll board. I guess I could have stored it. And then Chadhat, you can stretch your legs out. You know what, while we're letting you stretch your legs out. And we can just mark another flag as, oh look, we get to move. We don't just have a landing station that lands here. We have Chadhat actually coming out to play. He's getting to plant the flag. He's getting to have all the goodness here. Jebediah already spent his flag budget. But fortunately, flags are easy to come by. So it's here. Central Mountains. Flags aren't hard to find. Could have walked here, though, for the amount of time that Chadhat was actually on the surface. I could have EVA'd him around all the biomes and done the same collection. But instead we take a surface sample, 240, take an EVA report from the surface. Pretty good. I mean, technically I could fly the ship to the poles for maximum science, but my tech tree is so close to being absolutely filled that there's not a great reason to. Fortunately, what this means now is that, so we can go ahead and board here. We can look up and actually see the beauties of space, perhaps, or something obstructed by the sun. Look, you can see the back of my solar panels. So there's that. Alright, so what do we get to do again? We get to deploy the drills. We get to do the same thing we just did before, which is actually try and get more harvest. I was not paying attention to the numbers before to see if this is a better place to get ore or not, but the first thing is that we can at least go ahead. Oh wow, it's still actually converting ore to fuel. Well, that would explain some of the power drain issues from before. Well, hey, you know what? At least we can turn off that functionality in just a second. 24 days here. If you don't remember from an earlier episode, I did actually, one of the things that prompted me to install Kerbal Alarm Clock was that I missed a bunch of time windows and had to rush my mission to Eve while I was doing the surface mining thing on the moon. So that's kind of what we ran into before. Alright, so we're just time accelerating just to try and get the fuel process there. Okay, so here we are. Fuel is good. We can actually turn the converter off now. And we're going to learn really quickly if there's a counter or... Because what? Whoa, we're not deploying that parachute. If we can get our ore back up to max, we'll know very quickly that we can complete the contract because we've gotten over enough ore. But if we need to haul this much ore all at once, we're not going to get that at the same time. Maybe that's why it's called fresh ore, and they're trying to be specific. I didn't know you want your ore wholly organic and all that, but let's go ahead and do this. it's not going to matter too much how much time we take. We're not going to run out of battery at nighttime here. So look at the starscape. Go. Go. You have extracted 100% of moving parts. Expert places ore. Okay, well, apparently ore is not too great to find here, so we've got to jump to another location, because if I time accelerate here, there's no more ore to be had. So stop the surface harvester, retract. We have learned that this is not where we need to be, so we're going to do one more little ore hop. So this is the Central Mountain Range. I'm not going to try and be too risky. I'm just going to go 90 degrees to the east, and we're going to hope for the best. Because that's part of the fun of Kerbal Space Program. You don't always know what's going to happen. But obviously I'm going to need to get some more ore to get some more fuel. All I really need at this point, though, is enough to get back to the space can. And for those of you that do not know, these ore biomes are actually not too big. So see, now we're back in the orbital plane. How far are we flying? This should be enough to actually get us a different area, and I kind of want to stay in this valley. So we'll do just another little pump. Because once again, we have the derp ship right here. We have to do the fuel balancing every time. And then this should be enough to get us a new location with ore. Unfortunately, I didn't have the resources to put anything in like a polar orbit. So as long as I don't hit that ridge right there, which is probably exactly where I'm going, I actually should be able to throw the brakes right here. But we're on the Central Mountain Range. We're actually on a mesa, which is pretty useful. So let's see here, 50 some meters. Yeah, we got a pretty good range to land. This should be okay. We just gotta go back to surface. See, only 33 meters per second on the surface. Only 1,000 meters up. You're getting some good flight time, Jebediah. It's been a few years, hasn't it? Sitting in a space station doing space station work instead of being the one to fly things to and fro. But I took one Kerbal too few to Duna, and so this is how it happened. This is why we're here. This is why we have to send a rescue refueler mission. And then I'm going to have to send this unmanned back to the surface of Duna, which will be exciting. Because at least we learned that it can survive the atmosphere, or it should be able to, without exploding too badly. So yeah, just a little bit more Ike maintenance, and then I guess we can hook back up with the main ship. Probably going to need to call an episode here before long. Wasn't expecting to have so much little ore dancing. But that's how it goes. It's like the streams, you can kind of get away with taking a little bit of a longer time, because it's just kind of one continuous playthrough. And for right here, uh-oh, we're getting some issues. Okay, we're flying in really fast. We gotta slam the brakes on this. There we go. We gotta turn the SAS on, and we gotta get flat-ish. Good enough. Less than 100 meters. Less than 10 seconds to impact. I mean landing, not impact. None of our landing struts are broken. We're not starting that today. Alright, so 8, 7, 6, 5. That should be plenty good. So 4, 5. Whoop! Alright, a little hop to end it. Get back down there. There we go. Alright, so what's one more landing, right? And then I guess we'll start this again. And we'll see if we can actually deploy the drill. Deploy the drill. We are in a new area, and I don't know what area this is, but it should not be expended of fuel. So let's start the harvester. There we go. A little bit of fuel here, not as much as the valleys for some reason. There we go. Should be able to fill up the fuel canisters first. Here we go. Turn that off. And then once we get a full load of fuel, we should be okay. I'm not going to worry about monopropellant. But I think one thing we did learn today is that you're just not going to be able... It has to be all in the same ore canister delivery, which I did get the technology for better ores and gardens, but as long as I get 1,000 ore available, and we'll go over just a little bit just so I can do some ore conversion here. This is what I gotta take back to the space station. The space station contract that I have, I should say. Because we have oh wow, actually extract 2,500 units of ore from Ike. I was wrong. So it's all one same mission. We can actually go ahead and stop this and retract it. We've gotten all the ore we need pretty much. So there is some kind of internal counter. I was wrong, and I'm glad I noticed that by the end of the recording here. So what's our next step for the next episode? Is I think we have a sunrise coming up on Ike in just a second. We have got to find where we're on the planet. There we go. And we've got to get back into an orbit where we jump down here, get around Duna, circularize our orbit, and then catch up with the Rescuer 2. And then somehow have a way to get back to Duna as well. So we should be able to plot those maneuvers in time for next time. But that's it for now. This is Asher, Jebediah, Chadhat, both rescued. Plenty of science to be had. Enough science here to carry forward. Nothing in the service bay for those of you who want to know from the stream but batteries. So this was not a science mission. This was a rescue mission. But I'd call it a successful mission, at least so far. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time with even more Kerbal Space Program. Take care.